I'm Robert P. Fitton, and this is a quick synopsis of 21st century poetic license. I wrote some poetry when I was in my early 20s. It's stuffed in a cardboard box somewhere in the morass. It wasn't until I deeply felt a loss in my life that I began scratching out a semblance of rhyme and rhythm, sprinkled with engaging descriptions that I call poetry. I'll read a few poems in this synopsis, but I won't analyze anything. I'll save that for future ramblings. What I will say is when I begin writing a poem, it's usually at a time between books, or if the event is a cataclysmic event, the words escape from within. Here are some of my poems. North of North. Can someone tell me what's north of North? Not today as I venture forth, north of the blue Charles Channel, somewhere north of Cambridge and points beyond. Let me pierce the zenith to worlds unknown. I've always wanted to go. It's the moment when I leave the tunnel to places I've never been before. It's Pittsburgh, lasered through the mountains, where light is not light after all, where dreams are most assuredly supplanted by faceted layers of elevated phantasms. North of North, racing like a NASCAR wannabe to the finite shores of the reservoir, tiptoeing above and around the surface tension, soaring past every instant I've ever known. North of North. Before I'm through, my consciousness deceives me. These worlds unknown, where day leaves night and night dribbles away, I stand everywhere at once. North of North. One by one they have fallen across the Mother Earth. I hear distant voices calling, falling before the human curse. Once I cast them youthful gazes and sought their loving faces. Even those gods who stood so tall have fallen before us all. One by one they have fallen, like leaves in the cold autumn air. With a frantic cry I gasped, as neither leaves nor gods I grasped. Age has made us now aware how summer's branches suddenly go bare. I hear the distant, beckoning sound of leaves reaching the frozen ground. One by one they have fallen across the Mother Earth. Even bare cold branches have fallen to the silver sky unheard. How can I seek to recapture the river flowing through warmer pasture? I can only mourn its course today, and those bright leaves seen just yesterday, spread over the sturdy trees once giving their life-sustaining force so giving. Shut down, dead, forgiven. The footprints. Who belongs to the footprints in the snow? Assorted sizes compacted along the trail. How would I ever know from whence they came, from whence they went? Winter's chill hurts the hardest when churned with unmerciful death, left with only shadows on the grave and footprints in the snow. First there was nothing before the storm. Inaudible flakes wafted to the ground. The hundreds and the millions who traveled without a sound. Footprints designed and pressed, frozen in the woods till spring, until the sun decided to thaw. They became silver before dawn. When does the snow transform to slush and the water to earth and back again? It is when the summer sizzles the forest floor and the footprints that were are no more. Nighttime highways. Nighttime highways are always the same, everywhere. Daytime's highlights strip bare. Everything that makes a place is lost to the nighttime's darkened face. The horizon dim and diminished in twilight, silhouetted forms lurk left and right. Line after broken line shooting up the hill, mile after mile on the asphalt treadmill. Radio towers, beacon lights flashing preside, with red taillights across the countryside. Down the road, oncoming high beams glare. Nighttime highways are the same everywhere. The shirt that was new. The shirt that was new was hung on a circular rack. Caught my eye, it did. The deep blue sleeves, white on the front and back. So I bought it and brought it home. For weeks and weeks, it was my new shirt. The shirt that was new long ago. I thought of it on this very day, as I pulled it from a pile of rags and wetted it round and throughout. But I was not trying to wash the shirt. The shirt that was new, its useful shape outgrown, was the shirt that I used for cleaning things. Oh, if time could stop me here and now, I'd scarcely believe it was true, that the shirt so fresh and new upon the rack was the shirt I used for mopping dirt. The greatest. The kid came into town, cocky and brash, punching holes in the air. He challenged them all in his continual tirade, 210 pounds. The kid, 8-1 on the bear. He had scowling, growling eyes. A mauler, he stood face to face with the kid. He was mean and he meant to pummel and smash the kid to the canvas floor. The kid, he jabbed and he jabbed, a stunning jab. He wore the mauler, he wore him down, cut his face and that scowl. He could not be caught, the kid, and he danced around the ring. The rounds went by and they blinded his eyes, but he crossed and counterpunched with a flailing uppercut. And when they called for the 7th round, the bear sat on a wooden stool. He never came out, and the kid was the champion of the world. A simple prayer for the common man. O Lord, hear my prayer for the common man. Calloused were once his vice grip hands. He rode shotgun against the prevailing winds. Stubbornness and recklessness were his sins. Common man. He lived his life sturdy and strong, sometimes right and sometimes wrong. The common man thrust his fist at wealth, beholden to no one but to he himself. God, what sins won't you forgive? Do you scratch a tally sheet for the minutes we live? 'Tis not for all of us or me to say how the common man spent his days. Repentance and forgiveness never escape scalding embers. When will the likes of him soon be remembered? Never stared down by the likes of mortal men. It was that stranger death that did him in. They bought the box and nailed the lid until his powerful hands lay resolute and still. He is the man who broke with the dawn, destined for toil from the day he was born. Common man. O Lord, I say to you in earnest, this is the mighty man who ran the mighty race. He sweat, he bled, he worked at an ungodly pace. A man who staggered but refused to fall. The common man. He wasn't so common after all. Listen to the plow. Listen, listen, I hear the plow. It's been snowing past an hour now. Only a couple of inches on the ground comes the rumbling, tumbling sound. Round and round goes the flashing light, the sifting flakes falling in the night. They say the driver's had a few. The night is long and it gets him through. The plow was always worth waiting for. All the innocent conclusions that I would draw. When school was called off for the day, I grabbed my sled and slid away. When everything was stopped and shut down, nothing stirring in the town, the future was a passing unimportant thought, as now in its grip I am caught. Once my skates cut the glassy ice, and my childhood had no stated price. Complications in my life so heavy now. Oh, how I love to listen to the plow. That heroic spirit which is now departed. Row, 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 calls the oarsman. Forward on that misty morn, clear the underbrush, a clash of honor on the far side of dawn. Judge Pendleton draws the lot and accepts the solemn pledge, north side facing New York's fiduciary atop the upper ledge. Beat, beat, beat contracts the contractual heart. How close is death to this world when we part? A Wogden affair has transpired across the Hudson serene, the wooden handle smooth and pistol barrel wiped clean. March, march, march into history, Nevis's wayward son. Pace by pace, the penultimate waste of a race never won. Soiled is the soil, green are the leaves, blue is the sky. Above Weehawken's glassy waters, the lonely eagle flies. 'Twas a dog-day dream, obscene, and gleamed to a tomorrow that would never be. Once the Scotsman crossed the Caribbean, where sea begets the sea. Spawn the man since bequeathed a death not deserved. Anguished and tormented, alone the little lion turned. The magma palisades overshadowed the Weehawken heights. For honor's sake, into the balmy air he fired wild and out of sight. A death-grip aim combusted into a fiery smoke discharge. Irish Code Cordello sanctioned the murderous barrage. "This is a mortal wound, doctor," doth he mutter. No pulse, no breathing or feeling, nary a shudder. For a despicable opinion applied to the killer's name like mud. The murderer's revenge was soaked in the nation's blood. His bones, they rest in marble in the heart of economic grandeur. Below the soaring scrapers, the traffic snarls and passerbys ponder. Destiny's embodiment when the United States was just started. I struggle with a bursting heart to portray that heroic spirit, which is now departed. A Snowflake Angel. In a quiet corner resides, sunlit wedges where I alone abide. Affixed, transfixed to the window's harbor spit. Our days are gone, there's nothing left. The flash was sudden, sudden, sudden. My heart was severely bludgeoned. My future flailed and flattened. What else really matters? Moonbeams scatter like souls atop the water, solitary hours that mark that endless night. As the workers dredged the twisted rubble, terror spread rapidly from the site. Spotlights shone over the fallen towers, where the dead lay buried on 9/11. But rising from that smoldering ash heap ruin, a snowflake angel winged to heaven. I'm Robert P. Fitton, and this has been a quick synopsis of 21st century poetic license.